Al Hikmat Services, serving Muslim and non-Muslim communities for 36 years, invites you and your family to an interfaith banquet dinner on Sunday, March 17th at 4:30 p.m. at the Paradise Point Banquet Hall, located in the Central Warehousing Complex in Charleville, Chaguanas. All proceeds will go towards Dawah services and publications. For more information or to RSVP, please call 868-325-8276, or you can email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com. With over 20 years of traveling experience, Al Hikmat Services is offering exclusive 2019 tours for a 10-day Umrah in Ramadan traveling to Makkah and Medina on May 11th to May 20th, and a 10-day tour of India and Dubai on October 13th through October 23rd, visiting holy sites, Taj Mahal, and many other historical sites. These groups will be led by Shaikh Shafayat. For more details, you can contact Al Hikmat Dawah Services at 1-800-804-0267 or at 954-986-0158, or you can email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com. Al Hikmat now offering tours and travel services plus visa application and processing services for Umrah, Dubai, India, and many other countries. For more details, contact Al Hikmat Services at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158, or you can email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com.
All praises are due to Allahu Allah. All praises are due to Allahu Allah. Allahu 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 Allah. Allahu.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. If you would like to dedicate copies of one of these publications as Sadaqah Jariyah, continuous blessings for your parents or dear ones who have passed away, or fi sabilillah, in the path of Allah, please give us a call so we can place your names on these dedicated publications. You can call us at 954-986-0158, or you can also visit us at www.alhikmat.com.
Allah is the creator of different faces. Allah is the creator of all races. Allahu, 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 Allah.
Royal Bengal Trading, importer, exporter, wholesaler of Bangladeshi Indo-Pak groceries and spices. We specialize in various authentic Indian masalas, juices, flours, rices, and spices. We offer exclusive brands as Ocean Pearl, Shan, National, Tilda, Himani, and many, many more. We're located at 36B Caroni Savannah Road, Charleville, Chaguanas, Trinidad and Tobago. You can call us at 473-4676 or call 476-3117. Email us at wahabdk@gmail.com.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Global Issues on Al Hikmat TV 24/7 online. It is indeed a pleasure and an honor to have with us in Al Hikmat studio Dr. Sheeba Rahman. Welcome to the show,
Thank you,
Dr. Sheeba.
Thank you.
It's really a blessing, I consider,
Thank you.
to have you with us and to discuss some of our women issues.
Alhamdulillah. Thank
And you know, women issues are really a global issue.
That is true.
It's a global issue.
Yes.
Women more or less sort of run the world nowadays.
Yes, absolutely.
But fortunately, unfortunately, they also do have some technicalities.
That's true.
Like men and everybody else.
Yeah.
So it's really a pleasure to have you with us, and we know that you got a very interesting background. You know, you have formerly worked at the Mayo Clinic.
Yes.
Is
thank
that
you.
the way you pronounce
yes,
it?
Yes, absolutely.
Mayo Clinic. What does Mayo
Clinic.
stand for?
Mayo, I think, comes from the Mayo brothers. They were two doctors who actually started Dr. Mayo was an actual physician who started the Mayo Clinic.
Oh,
And so it's
okay,
located in Minnesota, and it's one of the leading healthcare systems in the country, actually. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
So Dr. Sheeba is a medical doctor, physician, and psychiatrist. So we're going to discuss a couple things with her pertaining to depression, stress, anxiety, her experience in that area, and how sisters and women worldwide needs whatever assistance they can get from that field. We have viewers worldwide. It's national, local, international. We call it LIN.
LIN.
Local, international, and national.
Okay,
So I'm sure
wonderful.
people worldwide will benefit from your
Inshallah.
advice, your discussion, your experience with
Inshallah.
cases wherever.
Absolutely.
And Dr. Sheeba is originally from New Jersey.
New York.
New York.
Yeah,
Why am I
yeah.
so? Well, I know they're very close by.
Close by, exactly.
Anyway, she has a field of experiences in her own world, and I'm sure you viewers out there will benefit a great deal. So I would like to ask Dr. Sheeba today on this show, how does it feel as a woman, a Muslim woman, in your profession?
Yeah. Well, thank you, first of all, for having me here, and thank you for the introduction. Being a Muslim, female, professional physician, alhamdulillah, I'm extremely grateful for that. I'm extremely grateful to have the title, to have worked for the title. It's always been my goal to be a doctor, and alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it possible for me. And I think being a female is an advantage in my field because it requires a lot of compassion, a lot of mercy, a lot of listening, a lot of talking also, which I think women are well equipped. Being Muslim is also...
Women are expert in talking,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you know that. I like to talk and I like to
Yes.
listen also. Men don't like to listen as much. Women like to listen also,
Yes.
So it's actually been a big advantage, I think, being female. Of course, I've had my obstacles, how to get to where I got to, alhamdulillah. But I think it's something that I want to encourage more women to pursue their career, especially in medicine, and for young females especially to want to be a highly educated Muslim female. I think it's one of the biggest strengths I have as a Muslimah is my education.
Do you think that women have more depression and anxiety issues than men? I'll be interrupting you here and there as you
Sure,
talk
sure,
because
yeah.
it's really a
Yeah.
pleasure, and I know a woman out there would love to hear this.
Yes. So with women, it is more common, absolutely, both depression and anxiety. Interestingly enough, more females will talk about it and express it. Now,
I like that answer. So
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily mean that more women suffer more stress and anxiety
yes.
issues, but they talk about it more
They
than
talk
men.
about it, yes, and there's certain types of anxiety disorders that are more common in men than women, or there's certain types of depressive disorders that are more common in women than men, so it's very common in both men and women. Now, when it comes to
point.
depression itself, it can happen in both, but the worst outcome for depression is suicide, as a psychiatrist from my perspective. And more women attempt suicide, and more men commit suicide. So men will successfully end their life if they want to. Women will keep trying and keep trying and keep trying.
I mean, they will talk more about wanting to do it than really do it.
Right. So
The men will not talk about it.
Right.
They may just get it
Right.
done. But talking
Exactly.
about that, I don't want to interrupt you,
Yeah.
but I have to. I'm thinking how the audience there are thinking.
Yeah.
And how they may want to, ask you questions. So, speaking about that, women expressing their feelings more than men, it brings me to a point that maybe a lot of men, instead of talking about it, they
Yeah.
probably go and play sports.
Yeah,
And they get it out, not knowing that that's what they're doing. They don't like to talk about it.
Right.
So they occupy themselves in sports.
Right.
Some may go and occupy themselves and become alcoholics.
Exactly.
Some may become drug addicted.
Right.
Some may go and just do other things,
Absolutely.
not realizing they're just trying to fill that vacuum
Yes.
where there's a lot of stress, whereas women will talk. So
Yeah.
that gives the impression that there are more women suffering stress and anxiety
Right.
when there are the same thing with men.
Exactly. And so I would say that I see equally men and women both. It's not that I have more female patients versus men patients, you know. And like you said, there's co-occurring substance abuse disorders. There's co-occurring disorders that people will resort to. Even females can resort to drugs and alcohol. But I think whether you're...
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, but for men or women, it's important to be in tune with your mood and your symptoms and how long it's happening for. You know, so if you're feeling down on most days than other, you're not able to get to work, you're not able to do your daily activities, you know, in our community you're not able to even, so there's some Muslims who say we can't offer salah, we just can't do it, and so they start to feel that it's a spiritual problem, but it's really that they're fatigued, their energy is low, they have a lack of motivation, and so those are all depressive symptoms. And
Right,
so they have
right.
to kind of come in, and I explore that with them and talk about it and see how to treat it and target it.
But that's not
Yeah.
the situation with non-Muslim women.
No, I mean, it's even for non-Muslim women, those are the same symptoms.
The same
you know, just the,
symptoms based on their religion and their family background
right.
and upbringing, etc.
Yeah.
Because we got viewers worldwide.
Yeah,
Muslims,
absolutely.
non-Muslims,
Absolutely.
different, you know,
Yeah.
faiths, etc.
Yeah, yeah, and sometimes with depression there is a complete lack of hope, lack of motivation, lack of energy, and you can't figure it out. You know, you have a faith or you have a belief system, but you can't implement it in your thought process because you're depressed, you know. So you can't find it in you to see a tomorrow or a better tomorrow.
Right,
And it's
right.
because you're having symptoms, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah, and any faith is protective.
So what really motivated you to get into this profession?
Well, like I said, I always wanted to be a doctor, and when I was in my training and in medical school, I was studying neurology in particular, which is the study of the brain, and I was studying patients who were having seizures, epileptic seizures.
Wow.
And so along with the patients who were having seizures, there were some patients that were physically having a seizure, but their EEG, which is the test for a seizure, was normal. So the electrical activity in the brain was normal, but the physical manifestation was there. And so that interested me in psychiatry, because it was a seizure of the mind versus an actual seizure, you know. So the patient actually feels like that they're having a seizure, and when you watch them on video camera, they look like they're having a seizure, but the electrical activity of the brain is completely normal. So then I went into psychiatry thinking this is kind of interested and I'm intrigued. So I got into a psychiatry residency program, and I thought, let me try it and see how I feel about it.
And this was in New York.
This was, then I did my training in Delaware.
Oh.
So I had to go out of state. I had to go out of state to do my residency. And so once I started to see patients on a regular basis with mental illness, and I saw the effects that medications have on their lives, I became a believer, and I realized that this is important. You know, this is an actual chemical imbalance. People need to be treated, and it can change your life, the course of your life.
Did you have any kind of obstacles in studying and following up this career that you wanted to be in so much?
I had lots of
Like
obstacles.
what? What kind of obstacles? As a girl,
as
a
a
woman,
girl, yeah.
a Muslim?
Yeah, so I'm number 3 of 4 girls. We're 4 sisters all together at home. So the idea culturally was you know, get married to a doctor. You don't have to become a doctor.
Interesting. I like that. Get married to a doctor.
Yeah.
That's a short way out.
That's a short way out, but my belief system and in my family, we were always like, we want to do what we want to do. And I come from a very pro-education family, and everybody wants to pursue a career. So my parents encouraged me, whereas culturally it wasn't really accepted at the time when I was going away to school and having to try, you know, and you know, grandparents and relatives like, well, why are you sending your daughter away, you know, to study? What for? You know, and so I just kind of kept going, and it was challenging.
Oh, so you had that situation?
I did have that situation, yeah.
Interesting.
Even though I was born and raised here,
In America.
yeah, in America, my parents were like, why are you doing this? Why are you sending her away? And she's a female. Why would you do that? You know. And then when I did go away to school, it was hard. It was difficult. You know. You have to, you know, the male to female ratio. There's more boys than girls when you go to medical school. You know, at least when I did.
And
so
then the peer pressure around.
The peer pressure.
Your lifestyle is
Yes.
so different to this new world that you are
Yes.
experiencing here.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, and then you have to work 24/7 and be on call, and you know, live outside outside of a bag sometimes and just kind of be at the hospital when you're needed. And so it's a tough lifestyle. And a lot of people used to say, it's not for women, don't do it, you know? And so I did have obstacles, but I had to keep keeping my goal in mind and keep focused and keep moving forward. And I think the more I started to see patients and enjoy what I was doing, the easier it became. But it was definitely difficult.
It was.
Yeah, it was definitely a challenge. But alhamdulillah, I made it through.
So as a Muslim,
Yeah.
you think a Muslim woman face a little more difficulties in getting into this profession?
Well, it's I'm not sure if for me there were times where I mean, if there's gaps in your education, you're questioned, like why is there a gap in your education, and they explore your Muslim, the stereotypes attached to being Muslim. Did you ever go outside of the country during this gap, etc. So there was a little bit of prejudice and bias along the way, even in my profession, but I had to use all of that to become my strengths in how I was doing what I was doing. Because my patients themselves deal with a lot of stigma, being mentally sick. So I had to put everybody else's stigmas aside and kind of stick to what I was doing and focus. But it was hard, just being Muslim and female and being in an environment where there was not that many of us. And familiarity is good sometimes, when other people can relate to you, and so it was definitely a challenge. But alhamdulillah, there was a lot of good people, Muslim and non-Muslim people, who helped me along the way and encouraged me and supported me, and I made it.
So you encourage, and you would encourage Muslim women or women in general to get involved in a profession and career like this, would you?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's very rewarding.
You see the need for it?
There's a definite need for it. I think a lot of people are suffering from mental illness, not just in America, but worldwide.
There's a famous saying, there are more mental illness people outside than inside the mental hospital.
You might be right.
Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting, because very few people actually end up in the hospital.
Yeah.
Very few people will actually walk in their door and ask
because
for
most
help.
of them don't accept that they're mentally ill.
They don't accept it, and so that's one of the goals, is to make people understand that it's okay to accept it.
Because you can get a pain and know you have a pain, so you need to go to the hospital.
Right.
But a mental illness, you don't really know that.
You don't know.
And
that.
many people who are mentally ill, they think they're not mentally ill. They think everybody else are mentally ill, and they are the most sane, the most righteous thinking.
Absolutely.
Where technically they are mentally ill.
You're right.
So they don't go for treatment.
Absolutely.
They won't ask for advice. They won't go to a doctor.
Yes.
And that's a sad issue.
It is a sad issue, and there's a lot of personality disorders as such, where people in their own mind think that they're right and their way is the best way. And meanwhile, around them, their relationships are being disrupted, their family life is being disrupted, their work life is being disrupted, but they can't see beyond.
They don't have a clue.
They don't have a clue.
That's why you got more mentally ill people outside than in the mental hospital.
I would agree with you.
Honestly, because they just cannot think that they are mentally ill. It's like education.
Yes.
We go through that in the educational field, in the Islamic religious jurisprudence field, and I'm sure to a point you will agree with me here. There are a lot of people you're speaking to in an audience, and they all think they know Islam.
Yes.
So they don't seek to learn.
Yes.
They don't seek to know more about the Quran and the Sunnah, the Prophet, peace be upon him.
Yes.
Because they think they know more,
Right.
and they don't make the effort to learn.
Right.
So you do have more ignorant people out there.
Absolutely.
But they don't know they're ignorant.
Yeah.
Because they think
Yes.
that they are educated and they know it all.
Yes.
And that's a sad thing.
It's a sad thing, and it's a dangerous thing.
Yeah. There is a very famous saying in Arabic, La adri nisful ilm. It means to say I don't know is already half of knowledge.
Subhanallah, yes.
You got it?
Yes, I get
to
it.
say I don't know is half of knowledge, which means that you would want to seek.
Right.
Whereas a lot of people think they know,
Yes.
which is a sign that they don't know.
Right, absolutely.
So you have more ignorant people out there than educated. So
I
back to the mental illness.
Yeah.
I go through this, Dr. Sheeba, all the time with people. They talk ballistic, and I know this person has a mental problem.
Right.
But they think they're so sane.
Yes.
So I know you guys got a hard job.
Yeah, I do. And you really have to kind of put your your own ego aside, and you have to realize that you're treating an illness and you're dealing with someone who actually has an illness, and that you have to have an understanding that perhaps it's not intentional what they're thinking or doing.
Definitely
Yeah,
not.
whether it's a delusion of any kind or psychosis or whatever it is, they get fixated, and it's very hard to change that. So as a psychiatrist, I have to keep myself knowing that this is what I'm treating and this is the illness that they're walking in with. But that's the hard
Wow.
part. Like you said, some people will not accept it.
And they don't know.
And they don't know, but their surroundings are deteriorating.
Yes.
You know.
And they think if they come to you, you will make them think that they are mad.
Yes, so a lot of
or
people.
they're mentally ill.
Exactly. So
That-
there's a stigma
That
attached
is a sad
to it.
thing. Now, I have a very, very interesting, provocative question to ask you.
Sure.
So if you have more men who go through depression or stress, or let's go to married couples,
Okay.
more men or more women, I don't know, what do we have more husbands go through depression and stress, or do we have more wives? I know, as we were saying, generally you cannot really wear it,
Yeah.
but
So I think when it comes to couples,
Yeah.
and if the wife is depressed, then the husband will have the residual effects of what's happening to the wife. And if the husband is depressed, the woman will experience, conversely, the residual
so
aspect.
it's an action-reaction sort of situation.
Right, because you're dealing with an actual illness. So, for example, if there's a diabetic in the home, you have to modify the diet and your cooking. And so it changes the lifestyle of the person who's cooking also, not just the diabetic who has to eat the low sugar food. So whichever spouse is struggling with whatever mental health problem it is, it affects the other
It
person.
affects the other person.
And at that point, that's where the education becomes very important. You have to be insightful and understand, well, my husband or wife hasn't been able to, do their daily tasks, or they're having this issue sustaining a healthy relationship with their family members or with their co-workers. What could be happening, and to sort of explore it, or even with each other.
So this brings me to another point.
Yeah.
So if a woman or if wives face more anxiety and depression,
Yeah.
then that could just not mean that it's a woman problem. It can mean the men are the ones who are causing that.
The men could be causing the
You
anxiety.
understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
Now,
absolutely.
this is interesting. 'Cause
Yeah.
people may say, oh, women, wives suffer more depression, anxiety.
Right.
But then is it because the husbands are causing that?
Well, so women have, not just women, but for anybody, there's a psychological and social component. So there's a biological, psychological, and social component. So when a woman is getting married and coming into a new life, she's changing her lifestyle.
That's a whole mental change.
That's a whole mental change. It's a new environment, new family, new people, and then the expectations are different. So for
Interesting point.
Yeah, and men are programmed to go to work and leave the house and come back, So for women now that do that, it's something new for a lot of people, that now the women go and work and come back from work and have their own, stressors that are work related. They're not just homebound anymore. So it's such a huge cultural shift that's happened now.
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
so a lot of couples and their families have not adapted to this yet. So they don't know how to, for example.
So men can find a lot of ways outside to release that stress technically,
Right.
friends, talking, job,
Sure.
work, etc.
Sure, or they feel that their work stress is warranted and it's normal. But a woman's work stress should not exist in the house. You know what I'm saying? So a man could walk in stressed out from work, but so can a woman. A woman can
Of course,
walk
of
in
course.
stressed
And then
out.
the
from-
woman can get more stressed because now she start having babies.
Right.
She has more domestic responsibilities.
There's a lot of
more
domestic
duties.
yes.
Not that she has to,
Yeah.
but then all these things come around.
Yeah, it's a lot more physiological and emotional pressure on the woman, because
Wow.
ultimately there's a lot of responsibilities that women can't escape, And even when the education part is happening, as glorious as it sounds, you have to keep all of those things in mind,
That's interesting.
because you have to keep realizing that ultimately the responsibility to bear children, have children, is on the woman, no matter what. Nobody can change that, So yeah, physiologically and chemically it's different for women. Absolutely.
So do you think, nowadays, when a couple is about to get married, they will normally go and get some counseling. Most religions do that.
Yeah.
Actually, the least people that do that, I think, are Muslims.
Yeah.
They don't really do it.
Yeah.
They should.
They should.
They should.
They should.
Most of
Absolutely.
these people, they go to the sheikh or the imam and says, we want you to come and perform the marriage ceremony for
Yes.
our, children.
Yes.
Most of the times they do not come for counseling before and ask for advice.
Yeah.
Well, this couple is going to go into this new lifestyle. They need some counseling.
Right.
Most of the American courts advise it
Yeah,
strongly
yeah,
that you should
absolutely.
have some counseling before
Yeah.
marriage.
Yeah.
And they get into that scenario
Yes.
of what they should do, what they should expect.
Right.
Are they really prepared for this mindset
Right.
and the whole 9 yards?
Right.
Why I'm mentioning this out of the whole context is because do you think, now that you have mentioned this new change in the couple after they get married, or women especially, do you think that they should have some, they should see a psychiatrist before they get married?
Definitely. I think couples before embarking on that journey should have premarital counseling. Absolutely. And
I mean, that's a whole new area.
that's a whole new area.
Because a lot of people don't even dream of that.
Yeah, but like you said, the non-Muslim community is so open and receptive to it, which helps the situation because they're
Yeah.
preparing themselves for a different life.
Premarital psychiatric
Evaluation.
Evaluation.
Yeah, because you don't want to get married and then realize that there was a
I was not worried
pre-existing.
for this. and-
Right, exactly. So you want to kind of prepare yourself for something new and different. And so it's very important to put the cards on the table, and see what kind of stressors this person is coming with and that person is coming with. And of course, you never know until you're actually married and living with one another, but it's okay to prepare for it, what your expectations are with work, what your expectations are with family, what your temperament is like on a daily basis. These things affect the
Interesting.
quality of life.
Very interesting. As a Muslim woman, as a physician, as a psychiatrist, I think that you should start promoting that.
Yeah.
That Muslim woman. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one good thing come out
Yes.
here of the show.
Absolutely.
Muslim women, especially, and the men,
Yeah.
have no problem. Both parties
Yeah.
should go
Yeah.
and see a psychiatrist for pre-marital counseling.
Absolutely.
Already people, you live in a home, you got a brother, a sister, a family, you got that scenario. Now they may even have to get adjusted to a sister-in-law,
Yes.
a
Yes.
brother-in-law,
Yes.
a mother-in-law,
Exactly.
an aunt-in-law.
Exactly.
So men, they can just say, you know what, we don't care, we not here,
Yeah.
we don't hear, we don't care.
Right.
But women are
Yeah.
very sensitive more than men.
Right.
More than men, men
Right.
are, and
Right.
they are, but there are some who just don't care.
right.
And because women are very sensitive, just a remark, just a joke by an
Yes.
in-law,
Oh yeah.
or by someone new, by a visitor, a neighbor in a new environment,
Yes.
can just mess the mind up of a
Absolutely.
young girl who's just got
Absolutely.
married and
Yes.
came into a new town, a new city, a new home, a new
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
So Dr. Sheeba, I really think that you and people like you and people you work with should really, from a medical point of view,
Definitely.
start promoting that these young couples, before
Definitely.
they get married,
Yes.
they really need to see a psychiatrist
Yes.
and get premarital
Absolutely.
counsel. What do you think?
I think I 100% agree. I couldn't agree with you more. And like you said, women, it's hard. It's a hard role to take on, and men can sort of put it aside and put it away. But women can internalize it, and not to say that women are not strong. They're very strong.
They are,
but
they are.
the problem is they're expected to be able to deal with all of that.
But just because women are very sensitive and very emotional,
Right. It's a
yeah.
good idea to sit down with, like you said, with a psychiatrist and sort of iron it out and how to cope with those, because those are things that can affect your mind, like you said, and your relationship and your daily life. a comment here and there, when you're trying so hard to adapt to a new life. And in-laws also, I think it should kind of be a big picture. In-laws need to understand, that now the shift has changed culturally, the expectations of a daughter-in-law or a sister-in-law has changed now with time,
Definitely.
Women have their own desires, they're not, their own goals, they're not depending on their husband's achievements, and saying that just this is what my husband does and I'm so proud of that. They have their own achievements, and so that's been a big shift that I think families need to learn about.
They need to. I mean, this daughter-in-law coming into a home.
Yeah.
Sometimes even the mother-in-law
Absolutely.
needs to do, even though she's not the one getting married, but there might be times that the whole family needs some counseling.
Absolutely.
Because here is where the mother-in-law, I mean the mother of the groom, because you have two mothers-in-law.
Right.
The mother of the groom has to start realizing that, well, my son, not that he's going to cut down on his love for you, the mother, but you're going to see him sharing more love with somebody else. Without you losing that love.
Exactly.
You got to start to let go to a point and agree that he has duties and responsibilities. For some reason, girls have a better way of adjusting their love in being able to still be that loving to their mother and their fathers, or their mothers and fathers, their parents, and still know to adjust their love with their husband. But I don't think men do that very, very discreet. So what happens, it looks very glaring. Oh, you love your wife more than your mother now. You know that kind of thing? And that in itself can start breaking down, and it's an action-reaction situation.
I think, Sheikh, with that issue, the mother-in-law syndrome sort of thing, and I see a lot of mother-in-laws, and a lot of them are not Muslim, because Muslim women don't necessarily confront this situation. But I think what I explain to them is that you have to let your son grow up and become a man. It has nothing to do with how much he loves you or how little he loves you. It's about accepting his role as a man, and that he's evolving into expanding himself into becoming a husband and then a father and then a family. And they have to embrace that,
And be willing to accept his growth.
Exactly. Allow and nurture his growth even at that stage. Because they did it at an earlier stage.
But I like that point. And you know what? We'll have to cut at that point. Because we got to go on a short commercial break. And I really love that interesting issue of husband and family, and because these are some of the areas that really cause this anxiety and stress and depression. So we got to go on a commercial break. We have been speaking for more than 20 minutes plus. When we come back, we will continue a little bit more on some of your experiences, some of the voluntary organizations you have worked with, and the things you have done here in America, because I'm sure our viewers worldwide will definitely benefit from your discussion and your experiences. And then they may be able to contact you, and we'll let them know how they can contact you and get some advice from you as a Muslim psychiatrist.
Absolutely.
So again, viewers, thank you very much for being with us on this show, Global Issues, with Dr. Sheeba Rahman, who is a medical doctor, a physician, a psychiatrist, and it's a pleasure to have her with us on this show. And when we come back,
with over 20 years of traveling experience, Al Hikmat Services is offering exclusive 2019 tours for a 10-day Umrah in Ramadan traveling to Makkah and Medina on May 11th to May 20th, and a 10-day tour of India and Dubai on October 13th through October 23rd, visiting holy sites, Taj Mahal, and many other historical sites. These groups will be led by Shaikh Shafayat. For more details, you can contact Al Hikmat Dawah Services at 1-800-804-0267 or at 954-986-0158, or you can email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com. Al Hikmat now offering tours and travel services plus visa application and processing services for Umrah, Dubai, India, and many other countries. For more details, contact Al Hikmat Services at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158, or you can email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com. Al Hikmat Services, serving Muslim and non-Muslim communities for 36 years, invites you and your family to an interfaith banquet dinner on Sunday, March 17th at 4:30 p.m. at the Paradise Point Banquet Hall, located in the Central Warehousing Complex in Charleville, Chaguanas. All proceeds will go towards Dawah services and publications. For more information or to RSVP, please call 868-325-8276, or you can email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com. Royal Bengal Trading, importer, exporter, wholesaler of Bangladeshi Indo-Pak groceries and spices. We specialize in various authentic Indian masalas, juices, flours, rices, and spices. We offer exclusive brands as Ocean Pearl, Shan, National, Tilda, Himani, and many, many more. We're located at 36B Coroni Savannah Road, Charleville, Chaguanas, Trinidad and Tobago. You can call us at 473-4676 or call 476-3117. Email us at wahabdk@gmail.com.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Global Issues on Al Hikmat TV 24/7 online. Again, it is a pleasure, and alhamdulillah, all praises and thanks are due to Allah and God Almighty for blessing us to have with us in Al Hikmat studio Dr. Sheeba Rahman, who is a medical doctor and a psychiatrist. It has been a pleasure talking to her before we went on the break. So wonderful, Dr. Sheeba. We got into some very interesting issues.
Absolutely.
And I think some fantastic ideas came out of that.
Yeah, definitely.
And we can surely get a lot of things going. But before we continue, we got a 10-15 minutes again for the show. What are some of the experiences you have had being vice president of the camp in New York, that voluntary organization that you worked with? I know you volunteer at different Islamic centers and has been part of Domestic Harmony Foundation and different women's program, etc. Would you like to share some of your experience, your involvement?
Absolutely. So I've done a lot
of dislikes, whatever.
Yeah. So these organizations have all been voluntary. It's been sort of the extracurricular stuff that I like to do outside of work. One of which was Camp New York, which is the Council of American Muslim Professionals. So that wasn't really mental health related. It was all about Muslims that are professionals. And it was very secular. It was kind of like an interfaith for professionals, you know. And so that was kind of more of a social activity. The other things, including Domestic Harmony Foundation, Islamic Center of Long Island, as well as Islamic Center of South Florida, I do a lot of mental health awareness for the youth as well as for the ladies. So for example, Domestic Harmony Foundation was more focused on domestic violence issues for women who were going through some sort of physical, emotional abuse in their marriages, how to counsel them, how to help them recognize the signs and symptoms of that, and what they can do and what sort of intervention is necessary. More recently, with what happened here in Florida with the shooting, you know, sort of debriefing the children and their mothers especially, how they felt about now sending their children to school and the anxiety related to it, you know. And so I've spent time with these groups to just kind of help the women and children to kind of recognize, you know, what they could be dealing with and take care of their mental hygiene and how to cope with it. And also to provide for them leadership and support, you know, that they may need someone to talk to and they may not have someone to talk to.
Yes, and I think that's a big problem. A lot of people don't have that someone to talk to. Wow, that's interesting. You know, in the beginning of the show, you were talking about some people, rather than becoming a doctor, they believe the shortcut is to get married to a doctor. And then I was supposed to ask you another question, so our viewers and audience worldwide will have a total perspective of you. So you are married to a doctor.
Yes, I am.
Because we cannot leave that out. So, you know, you got the better of the two worlds.
Yeah,
you
I
not
have the
only
best of both worlds.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah.
You did not just do the shortcut of marrying and getting married to a doctor Dr. Naveed.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you also became a doctor.
Yeah. So for me, marrying Naveed it's an advantage that he's a doctor because he understands my lifestyle and he understands my profession very well.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it helps me that he knows and he's been through it and he
Wow.
understands my work very well and supports it and encourages it. And conversely, I can do that for him. You know, he's seeing sick patients all day and treating them, and I'm seeing patients that are sick and treating them. So we both have the same goals, the same.
And what
aspirations.
area is he specialized
So
in?
he's sports medicine, and he's.
So
you know,
he's more on the physical
he's more
aspect
the
of the
physical
human body.
aspect. Yes, exactly.
And
So-
you're on the mind.
Yes, exactly.
What a combination.
I know.
He deals with
He-
sports medicine.
Exactly. So he's, treats people with injections and heals their physical injuries. And,
Yes.
Whereas I treat the mind and,
But
do
you
more-
guys are a fantastic combination.
Thank
eh?
you, thank
You
you,
can treat each
alhamdulillah.
other.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, he's,
I like that. But I like that point you mentioned. You know, that brings us again into this marriage scenario.
Yeah.
Where that mental understanding is important. Like
Yes.
him being a doctor.
Yeah.
He understands your profession.
he does.
And
yeah.
sometimes, I mean, you're in counseling and and
Right.
psychiatric issues.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can be an issue in marriage. Yeah?
Absolutely.
When people do not have that compatibility in profession,
Yeah, yeah.
then they don't understand each other's career and profession.
Exactly.
And money alone is the common factor.
Right.
But later on, after you get married,
Yeah.
money does
It's-
not become an issue.
Not at all. Not at all. I think it's the intellectual compatibility that matters. Just the way you think, the way you treat people, the way you, practice your daily routine. We understand each other very well.
Unmarried people definitely need some kind of advice. I'm sure, because if they don't know what kind of partner or spouse, for want of the better word, they should choose, that can be very problematic.
Right, right.
What do you think?
I agree.
Especially with what you said.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that a doctor has to marry a doctor or a
Right.
lawyer marry
Sure.
a lawyer.
Sure.
But I think these unmarried people need to know what they want in life.
Yes, yes. They need to be introspective and look within themselves and see what sort of life they want to have with a companion. Are they ready to have companionship? Some people get so used to being single for so long and functioning as a single person that it's very hard for them to then to make that transition. Are they mentally prepared to compromise? Are they mentally prepared to make sacrifices? What type of person will they be most proactive with? And they have to soul search, and rather than just succumb to the cultural pressure or to the financial pressure or to any sort of physical pressure, they have to really do some soul searching and think for themselves, how is the marriage going to make me a better person in this, in this life? How am I going to function optimally? And they have to look into themselves first and then attract someone similar.
So that brings me to another question. We spoke earlier on about premarital counseling.
Yeah.
Now we're talking of another issue.
Right.
Do you think unmarried people need counseling in how to choose a spouse?
It's worth it, Sheikh. It's very much worth
why
it.
I'm asking you that,
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of people who probably just get married only
Yeah.
for society.
Absolutely. And marriage is such an important aspect of your life. And when you do it, you want to do it once and you want to do it right and you want to do it best and you want to choose the best partner for yourself. And nobody's perfect.
Yeah, because
So-
they just get married to let the society know
Yes.
that we got married. We're part
Exactly.
of the bandwagon. We joined the club.
Right.
But they may not marry to the person that they really want to get married
Right.
to.
And
There may not be compatibility, and then it's creating more
yeah.
anxiety, stress, and depression that they
Definitely.
were already going through as an
Definitely.
unmarried person.
Definitely. And that's something we see very, very commonly, and there's a lack of understanding of yourself if you succumb to that pressure and just go ahead and marry someone just because. It's not healthy for an individual to do that. And so yes, I definitely highly recommend individual counseling therapy even before you start the couples therapy, because you have to know yourself before you get to know someone else.
Yes.
And you have to be prepared that you'll be sharing a life, and that's important. A lot of times people they'll think, okay, well, we'll coexist. It doesn't work like that. You know, this person will have their life and I'll have mine, and we'll be married, and people will be happy and they'll be satisfied.
Like two biological bodies coming together.
Exactly. And you know, they have a checklist and check, and it'll work. But you really have to, your lives are literally fusing together. And so you have to be mentally prepared for that.
Maybe that's the reason why statistics have proven and studies have proven that people live happier as common laws. You know, they just have a common law wife or husband, as the case may be, not married, they're just living together, and they may live for 5 and 10 years because they live a biological bodies come together checklist. And as soon as they get married, and now they got to go through that psychological scenario of we are with each other, we're a bond, which was exactly what was happening before, from a physical point of view, from a financial point of view, from a social point of view. But now, when the mindset is we are married, and that bond comes on, they can't handle it. And I have heard of people who live together, you know, for 10 and 15 years, and when they decide to get married, they cannot live together for one year. Have you heard of cases like that?
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. I think it's important to understand the role of a boyfriend or a girlfriend is different than a role of a husband or a wife.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a completely different dynamic. And so mentally, when someone is in a relationship and not having those marital expectations, perhaps it's a completely different dynamic. Now you are married, now the marital expectations are there, which is a lot more. And so perhaps they cannot then function as optimally as they were prior to that.
Wow.
So you have to understand why you want to be married and what the reason is. And is it just, it's not just a relationship, it's a whole lifestyle.
It's a whole lifestyle.
It's a whole lifestyle, and you have to be willing to accept that. You know, it's a lifestyle with someone who's different than yourself. You're not blood related. You're not blood bound to them.
Wow. Different parents, different people.
Parents, different upbringing.
Different geographical settings sometimes.
Absolutely. Yes, definitely.
Interesting. So I like that point. You can do a checklist on biological things, on financial things, on physical things. But when you get married, this marital relationship, it's a whole different thing.
It's a different thing. It's a different lifestyle altogether.
It's a different commitment.
It's a different commitment, And a lot of times, at least in the Muslim culture, when the non-marital relationships exist long term, there's a big guilt component there. You know, that they're going outside of the religious sort of parameters to sustain a relationship. And so sometimes people feel that getting married, they're fulfilling their religious obligation, which is valid, it's legit. But there's more to it than just getting married. The religious obligation, also it has to be a spiritual, mental, emotional connection. So they have to be prepared for all of that.
And you have to be prepared.
Yeah, you have
must
to
be ready.
You must be ready.
It must not be for society.
Yeah, exactly. It must not be for society.
It must be for Allah, for God Almighty, and for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely a divine concept.
Yes,
marriage.
because a lot of people do it for society, not for the pleasure of God, and not for themselves and their happiness.
Exactly. And unfortunately, that's why marriages break apart so quickly nowadays, because people don't have the patience, the stamina, they don't like it, and then they're out, and then they have an escape plan very quickly. But then the aftermath of that, again, is not good either. You know, people have higher rates then of more depression, anxiety after the fact, because then you have to rebuild yourself all over again after the fact. So you have to take all aspects of this before you even initiate a marriage.
Wow.
So it's our responsibility as community members to educate people about that.
Well, that's why I asked you in the very beginning, as a Muslim doctor, as a woman, a psychiatrist, it's very challenging in this profession. Well, you know, time is running out on us. We have had a wonderful conversation. A lot of
Definitely.
issues came out of this.
Definitely.
Women issues, family issues, society and social issues, medical issues,
Medical issues, yeah.
marriage issues.
Yes.
This is fantastic. This
Yeah,
is
I enjoyed it
fantastic.
very much.
I really enjoy talking to you, and I'm sure that
Likewise.
our viewers worldwide will benefit a lot.
I hope
Dr.
so.
Sheba, because there are a
Thank
lot of
you.
women out there and
Yeah.
families who need this kind of advice.
Yeah.
They need
Yeah.
to talk to somebody on this issue. They need
Yeah.
to hear about these things
Right.
so they will know that they're not alone.
Absolutely.
And these issues do exist.
They do, yes.
They are not in their own little world.
Yes.
And you know, officially and professionally, that's why I think that I want to strongly recommend and ask you again that we need to have a more discussion like
I would
this,
love
and,
to, yeah.
and you need to be talking to more ladies
Definitely,
and families on
definitely.
issues of these
Definitely.
matters.
Yes.
And maybe as we were talking before we went on to record, maybe you should do a live
Yeah.
audience
It would be
talk
my
show
pleasure, yeah.
with women especially and families
Uh-huh.
online, live,
Yes.
Facebook, YouTube, Al Hikmah TV.
Absolutely.
People can ask questions
Yeah.
worldwide.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of these issues, because if you and I alone sit here,
Yeah.
and so many issues came out,
Right.
can you imagine if you got 100 women in the audience,
Yeah.
how many more
Exactly.
very important
Yeah.
important issues can come out
Definitely.
that can benefit the communities and the families and the people around.
It would be my pleasure to help and be here for the community, and I would love to.
It's really
Yeah.
a pleasure to
Yeah.
have you with
Thank
us in
you.
Al Hikmat studio.
Thank you,
To be
likewise.
on this program, Global Issues, and I
Thank you
think
for having me.
we really touched a global issue. Women issues, family issues,
you.
mental issue.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
It's
is a global
important.
issue, right?
It is, definitely.
It's a global issue. So
It
we're
is.
about to shut the program down now.
All right.
Not shut you off, because we want you to be more on this program on these
Inshallah.
issues. So what would you like to say in a couple of seconds to our audience being here with us, etc.?
Well, I'm excited to be able to provide more information and knowledge to the community, and I think it's important for everyone to be taking care of your mental hygiene and taking care of yourself, and I look forward to providing more services, inshallah.
Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Thank you.
So it has been a pleasure talking to Dr. Sheeba Rahman, Muslim medical doctor, psychiatrist. Very interesting conversation, and feel free to, those of you who have missed the conversation, you can check it out back on Al Hikmat TV, on YouTube, etc., Google Al Hikmat, wherever you can find this conversation again. Pass it on to your friends and family worldwide. Thank you very much for viewing. It has been a pleasure being with you. And always stay tuned to Al Hikmah TV online 24/7, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Al Hikmat Services, serving Muslim and non-Muslim communities for 36 years, invites you and your family to an interfaith banquet dinner on Sunday, March 17th at 4:30 p.m. at the Paradise Point Banquet Hall, located in the Central Warehousing Complex in Charlieville, Chaguanas. All proceeds will go towards Dawah services and publications. For more information or to RSVP, please call 868-325-8276, or you can email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com.
All praises are due to Allah, Allah. All praises are due to Allah, Allah. Allahu, 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 Allah. Allahu.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. If you would like to dedicate copies of one of these publications as Sadaqah Jariyah, continuous blessings for your parents or dear ones who have passed away, or fi sabilillah, in the path of Allah, please give us a call so we can place your names on these dedicated publications. You can call us at 954-986-0158, or you can also visit us at www.alhikmat.com.
Allah is the creator of different faces. Allah is the creator of all races. Allahu, 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 Allah.
Salam alayka, ya Habib.
Bounty Kings, Bounty Castles presents brand new luxury castles for all events. you can contact us at telephone number 749-4342, or you can also email us at bouncykings1@gmail.com. A-Class Glamour presents to you wholesaling and retailing of premium lines of cosmetics for all skin types, designer jewelry, and many accessories. Brands include ColourPop, Maybelline, Revlon Professional, Urban Decay, Sephora, and many more. To get a hold of these products, you can call Sadiq Khan at 345-5824 or Amira Khan at 759-6089. You can also visit our Facebook page at A-Class Glamour to follow for newly released lines of products.
With over 20 years of traveling experience, Al Hikmat Services is offering exclusive 2019 tours for a 10-day Umrah in Ramadan traveling to Mecca and Medina on May 11th to May 20th, and a 10-day tour of India and Dubai on October 13th through October 23rd, visiting holy sites, Taj Mahal, and many other historical sites. These groups will be led by Shaikh Shafayat. For more details, you can contact Al Hikmat Dawah Services at 1-800-804-0267 or at 954-986-0158, or you can email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com. Al Hikmat now offering tours and travel services plus visa application and processing services for Umrah, Dubai, India, and many other countries. For more details, contact Al Hikmat Services at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158, or you can email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com. Royal Bengal Trading, importer, exporter, wholesaler of Bangladeshi Indo-Pak groceries and spices. We specialize in various authentic Indian masalas, juices, flours, rices, and spices. We offer exclusive brands as Ocean Pearl, Shan, National, Tilda, Himani, and many, many more. We're located at 36B Coroni Savannah Road, Charleville, Chaguanas, Trinidad and Tobago. You can call us at 473-4676 or call 476-3117. Email us at wahabdk@gmail.com.
Truly he is the one, he has no father or son.